I know. Another 372 crankcase. I happen to have them sitting around. Why not put them together? We're not doing anything else these days, right? For those people watching live, this is fun. For all of those people that are watching later, kind of boring. So please join us live. A whole lot more fun. Forgive me, my sinuses have been driving me berserk. So, I'll live. Whatever. For those people that haven't done it already, check out the video I just posted on O-ring substitutions. I wanted to finally do a video on that and have it a little more concise than what I've been kind of posting. Anyway, up today we have crankcase. We have another we have a 372 that I've been working on. I want to get that popped, and I have an unboxing over there from Alan to do. So let me bring it up on the phone here. That way I can see questions and comments in real time. Morning, William. How's the whole shelter in place thing going for you? Everything good? Everybody healthy? Other than my sinuses driving me kind of crazy, I'm alive, so we're good. Don't know about the whole toilet paper thing, but whatever. Oop. There we go. Morning, Ed. I see 6 people here. Who's here? So we got some Natchies. Larry's here. Hey, Larry. Yeah, family's okay. The kids are kind of restless, and they're inside playing too much Minecraft or whatever. But we got supposedly schooling happen tomorrow. Distance learning, whatever they call it. We'll see. Dan McDermott, morning. So, I'm trying to clean up. I'm trying to kind of get things solidified and maneuvered and whatnot. So I happen to have these 372 crankcases, and I said, you know what, I might as well put this together. Is there a consensus? You guys want me to put this together any particular way? I can put bearings in hot. I can put them in cold. Does anybody want to see anything in particular? I've got a box here from Alan. Got my gasket kit here. Stuff keeps showing up, Just got an email from HL Supply. Yes, we're still working. Well, I'm not. So. I don't even know what's in here. Alan he's like, I'm sending you something. Yeah. Oh, okay. He's got the same email. Oh, yeah. Okay. The flywheel puller. Supposedly, this is something I'm probably not going to use for a while, but it's a really nice bag. Really padded bag. He said it's a highway head. What about the spark plug in there? Dan McDermott, don't participate much building my first 10 350 projects using the 350 videos as a guide. Well, great. That's wonderful. If I can give you some ambition, that is my goal. This is a funky cylinder head. He said it was a highway head, but that does not look like a highway head. Okay. Don't know when I'll get to use it. Morning, Harry. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. So, Alan, you're going to have to tell me more about this cylinder head, because I'm a little lost. I don't know what to do with it. I don't have a chassis to put it on, so... And the shape is funky, so I don't know, whatever. I thought it was 272. What's the size here? It is, yeah, 52 millimeter. Okay, it is 272. All right. Whatever. I can handle it. Let's put this over here. That goes out to the shed. Okay, 10 people. Does anybody want to see me do the bearings cold, do them hot? What do you want me to do? I'm going to do bearings on this, and we're going to put this crankcase together. Anybody have a particular way they want to see it done? Want to do both? Because my preference is to do them cold. That's my preference. So let's do them cold, unless somebody else says something else. You want to see them done correctly. I think if you go to the manual, it wants them done hot. Want to see it done cold, Stanley? Okay. I like doing it cold. So, don't always put anti-seize in here, but it does help smooth that out a little bit. So a little bit of anti-seize in here. And then what I like to do, move things out of the way. You don't hit the inner race, by the way. And all I'm doing here is I just want to get it started. All you want to do, just get it started. Morning, Stanley. Junkyard. Junkyard, your 394 is a beast, buddy. At least that's what Mason says. Okay. So you need a good assortment of washers that fun stuff here. Yeah, so, and the 262 runs. The 262 runs good too. So I think you're going to be happy. Yeah, your 394 is probably going to be like one of those saws that's like, yeah, I shouldn't have sold that. Okay, so here we got threaded rod, 1/2 inch, nuts, washers. It's that simple. You need a good assortment of washers and all that stuff, though. And this is, I can see it's not quite as straight as it could be. So we're going to back it off. Switch the washer. So say, okay, it's a little tilty or whatever. Just tap it right back into straight, and then it'll go perfect the rest of the way. No worries. And this you're going to basically bring down flush. You're going to bring it down until it stops, and then that'll be that. Yeah, I've climbed a grand total of 1 tree. I think it's 1 at this point. And I don't really have an intention to do it again. Because once I got about 25 feet up, I was like, you know what, that's enough. And it goes in just like butter here. Once it's straight, it goes in just like butter. Hey, Pat. And this one over here, my deep socket is not going to be deep enough, so. Yep, that's it. Back it off. Can you use the same method with 346 case? Yes, yes you can. You like the 2500, huh? I haven't tried it yet. William, can you fiddle with those? Can you mod those at all? Now I know on the 200T, I found after a while, because I was screwing with it and modding them and whatnot, and there was just kind of no point to modding them because if you do the build right, yeah, who would have thought, right? But if you do the 200T build right, then there's really no need to modify it. It's really quite good out the box. And any modification just makes the usability kind of go down a bit. But if those are modifiable, then that'd be cool. So yeah, there it is. There's your new bearing. now we got to do the other side here, which is a little trickier because the bearing goes deeper down in the pocket. A little anti-seize in here just makes it go smooth. Yeah, climbing is not easy. There's no question about it. One kind of saw that I see no purpose in money. Starts one pulling up in the tree, call it good. Yeah. It's a good point. Fine point. You get it as straight as you can, you know. Technically, the book says you want to do this. I'm pretty sure the book says you want to do this hot. I don't know. The torch worries me. Most of the time you do it and you lose your heat differential anyway, so what was the point? That's kind of that's kind of my sense on it. Yeah, you know, William got a point. I mean, that's kind of true for pretty much any tree service saw, you know. And I've certainly been there. Still a little bit off. Again. Yeah, sometimes I can get them to drop right in, Junkyard. I can. But that also means that I had to have had these bearings in the freezer. Number one. Number two, one issue with bearings coming out of the freezer is the moisture they pull in. They do pull in moisture. So there's something to consider there. Perfect. That'll go in perfectly smooth now. This go in. I've done it like that many times. I used to keep bearings in the freezer for that reason. I don't anymore. I don't see the point. Mainly because I don't see like wearing out the you know, I don't see the possibility of wearing this out so much so that you can't, you know, do this anyway. By the time, and one day I'll do the experiment. It's like, how many times can you know, in and out with the bearing before the case is wrecked? You know, there's an experiment there to be done. But that just goes, but once it's straight, oh, so butter smooth, beautiful. Bring this all the way to the depth of the pocket, and again, you have to have a good selection of washers in order to do this. But there's no heat here. There's no harm. There's no waiting. Just get them in and they're done. And you don't have to have a fancy press either. And maybe you believe in the moisture issue and maybe you don't. Washer got stuck. Good. Perfect. Okay. Some of the bearings we use way more than a saw. Rotary bearings are... Wow, yeah. Now we make sure these are degreased. Apparently Kleenexes are a serious commodity around here. Some clean crankcase now. Believe it or not, I did wash these. A little bit of brake cleaner for sure shows stuff up, you know. Now that that's cleaned and degreased, we can just throw this into here. And unfortunately, I actually sold all of my crankcases. So I have to use like the prototypes. Whoops. Well. So this is a prototype rod. This is not how the real set is supposed to work, you know. It'll still work, but rod, sleeve, handle, all the way down and back off a turn or two. Don't have any stinking threads. Okay. So this one's a little short. Watch this. All I need to do is grab one thread and it'll be enough to get it started. But that's not, again, this was the prototypes, and these were not exactly amazing pieces. But put the handle on, Turn it down. Yeah, I as far as I know, I'm out of work indefinitely. So I'm anticipating going back to work. I'm anticipating getting rehired, but I don't know. Yeah, there's no idea. And yes, these are Nachi bearings. Did you autograph your personal set when you? No, no, I don't actually have a personal set. I use the prototypes. I use the junk, the leftovers. You know, that's kind of what I. My saws are like that too. I have a tendency to use basically the all the leftovers and whatnot. Yeah, Pat. I think Connecticut also said that healthcare is essential, and I am healthcare, but the the Connecticut State Dental Association, and the National Dental Association said no, it's no go. So emergencies only. That was their recommendation. So basically, yeah, we're shut down. Hey, Nikki. Continued R&D. Yeah, not exactly. That's it. Usually I put a washer on here, but I didn't really have the room for it. There's no heating anything up. There's no cooling anything down. No waiting. If you need to take a phone call in the middle of pulling a crank in, you can do it. Right. Luckily, this time, I put the crank in the right direction. Put the connecting rod up. That's always nice, too. Yeah, one of the highlights, actually, of the tools, the tools that work like this, is that your left hand is free to control the connecting rod. You can just play with that, you know, hold that, whatever you need to do, no problem. And like I said, in the middle of the whole thing, need to go take a phone call. Take a phone call. Who cares? Come back to it, no problem. It's it's basically as fast as you can possibly need it, but it's also as convenient as you can possibly imagine. Also. Yeah, if you can get them for $3.99 each, free shipping, go for it. For 6202s, if you can get it for that price, do it. That's a winning deal right there. Let's do some 1184. Yeah, I think we're just gonna hunker down here. I'm gonna work on saws, hang out with you guys a bit. Gotta get the kids, doing their homeschooling stuff, get that kind of going. I think that's gonna be a hard sell, but we'll see. Yeah, Nikki, are you working? What's the deal over there across the pond? I do the flywheel side first for the 1184. because I want it to tack up before I put the gasket on. These surfaces are all cleaned and degreased. $80 bearings in a box. Larry, tell me where that deal is. By the way, I don't know. Larry, did you get your tracking number? Sent you a tracking number. I like tapping it. It really gives it just the right kind of consistency. The surface ends up this mottled appearance, which really seals up well. A little concerned with going as other people would be all over Connecticut. Yeah, people are still. I was out the other day. Wasn't trying to do much. Just went out to like Lowe's and post office. Well, I had to go get Larry's stuff out. But there's still plenty of people on the road. I'll tell you what. Positioning pins. Gasket. This is highway gasket. Yeah, that's a real winner there, Larry. Okay, so we've got goop and gasket. We got goop together. Now these cases tend to do this thing. Which kind of drives me a little crazy, but whatever. I do happen to have an M8 rod sitting here. I do have one of these left. This goes on the flywheel side. Larry, I sent you a photo. I sent you a photograph of the tracking number. I emailed you a photograph. Unless that was to the other Larry Warner. And they're staying away from town. Bossman shut down after St. Patty's Day, expecting the government to announce lockdown. They didn't, so now the company's asking. Yeah, I didn't even get a separation package. There was no, like, package of here you're done, you know, whatever. There was no separation package, so I don't know what the deal is there. I filed for unemployment yesterday. Well, to be more clear, my wife filed for me, but whatever. And it feels darn strange to be off work, I'll tell you what. It really does. Just turn the sun down, and it's going to pull right together. Yeah, you got the Dragon. Good, okay. Want to back off the books because they go back off the books. Here's so much isolation healthcare system can cope on right. Still recuperating from surgery. Oh. Complete hip replacement. Oh, sorry. Positioning pins are real important here. Okay, they're in. Good. Keep what's fun. More excited to get my own tools. The first time you use these, if you've done things differently for years, if you've done the hot and cold thing or whatever else, you know, the first time you use them, you're guaranteed to giggle. It's just so different. It's very, very different. That's it. That's all you need. Back it off. Yeah, this rod here is a good rod, but this sleeve kind of got buggered a little bit, so I use that one. That one's for me. Because I don't care, and you know what? It still works fine. Yeah, it's a guaranteed giggle the first time you use them because it's surprising. It's so surprising. So the guy spoon carving with Tom put up a video not too terribly long ago, and it was him using the tools for the first time. And he said that he's like, I wasn't skeptical. It was just that I didn't know if I could get them to work as easily as Maddie could, you know. So he's like, took longer to set up the camera than it did to actually work the tools. So, yeah. They're fun. Okay, now we're going to put crankcase bolts in. to impact them in. That's not the idea. I've said that 1,000 times. Good. Now we do them by hand. There. "45 years of work till I got hurt. Did them hot and cold many times. Didn't quite enjoy working on bottom ends because of the process. Time to open my own practice. No. No. One. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Yeah, we got nice squeeze out. That feels nice. That's fine. It's not the best crankcase. It really isn't. It's just. It's not. This is not anything super nice. Yeah. No. No. I'm not. You know. The sentiment is appreciated, Pat. Thank you. So don't think it's not. It's just that I had the office with Dad for 12 years, and what I tell people is, family stuff works until it doesn't. So let's assume for half a second that we get rid of the family issues, right? And then it's just me. One of the things that I noticed that is a very, very, very significant issue here in Connecticut is that staffing is very difficult. It is abnormally difficult here. The thing that makes me the most nervous about it would be the dental assistants. And instead of getting easier, it's gotten harder to find assistants in the last couple of years because now they have to have certifications. And we've had dental assistants without certifications probably for 5,000 years. So, doing dentistry for 5,000 years. Dental assistants, anybody could dental assist before. Now, have to have certifications. And I think that in general, holding people to a higher standard is fine. It comes at such a cruddy time. And they did it in kind of a weird way. It was disorganized and whatnot. So, it scares the bejeebies out of me, the staffing thing. Finding qualified people to work with in Connecticut apparently is quite hard. So, that's kind of where my brain goes. And I understand that is a bit of a spirit of fear, but it's also a spirit of knowledge. And that there is, it makes it really, really hard. And I see it in the office I was working in. Also, staffing is hard. Very hard. The 372, you know, technically you don't really need to use the Coke can trick. I would have to say that there isn't an absolute need to do it because the there's a taper here, and you don't need it on the other side. So, but still, I'm gonna do it anyway. Find my sleeve. Where did my sleeve go? Because I can just put the sleeve on there. That would work too. You do it with a Coke can. You do it with the Husky sleeve. Whatever you want to do. Whatever works. Because I have the sleeve, I think I'll use the sleeve. Now on the sleeve, it's nice. You can put the seal on the sleeve, and then you can see like exactly what's going on there, and make sure that you're not popping that spring out. Now this sleeve is not necessarily intended for flywheel side, because the flywheel side is already tapered. A little bit of 518 on the outside. And then we'll do just a little bit of grease there on the crank. And then slide it on down. Tap it on it. Again, because these are my tools, I'm okay with tapping on this, but you know, do as I say, not as I do. Crank install sleeves are not necessarily intended for seal installation. Yeah, almost there. You can kind of go as crazy as you want here as far as getting even and whatnot. I like using my depth gauge here. This is a little harder to do because, yeah, 1, 2, 3. That's all pretty even, actually. I think I might go drive it just a hair more, and then we'll call it good. Visually, it looks good. Nice and even all the way around. I like putting it right to the edge of that 45, all the way down there. Four. Stop messing with it. Hey, Alan. Yeah, yeah, so I use the actual OEM piece to get it over there. So it's a good point. Or a Coke can. So, yeah. Morning, Alan. So what's the story on that head? That does not look like a highway head. And what do you want me to do with it? Hey, Chris. Busy morning. Oh dear. Yeah. I don't know if were you on Ken's stream. I missed Ken's stream this morning because I did not get a notification. But yeah, I'll bet you were having a good old time with that, telling everybody to chill out. Lordy be. So I'm a tad under the weather because of my sinuses, but I don't have the shortness of breath that is typical with COVID symptoms, so I'm not worried. You know what I mean? Got in a parts lot. Okay. So exactly the same thing. Got no notification. Yeah, I got no notification at all for Ken's stream, so I don't know what happened there, but let's clean this. So on this side, and I forget who it was, suggested doing the bushing and the seal at the same time. And I kind of like that idea. And I did it on the last build. I'm going to do it this one too. Could have used a break from the phone calls. Yeah, you know, everybody's kind of freaking out. But, you know, in general, we don't have to worry about the kids. It's not the kids we're worried about. And frankly, I've thought, and this is not a professional opinion, it's just my personal sense. I think everybody's going to get it. I think everybody's going to get it. The question is what the damage is going to be. Because that's the serious question, you know? So, I'm not that worried about it, but that's kind of what my sense is like, yeah, everybody's getting this. What am I going to do? Get this little scotch break. Yeah, I think there's going to be a significant portion that's going to get it. The question is what the ultimate consequences of that are going to be. And I don't think it's going to be that dire, but it's certainly going to cause some problems. I mean, it's already causing issues. The cool thing is if they come up with a simple solution, and the one thing I had heard was there was potential for the anti-malarial drug to work. If they can come up with a stupidly simple and cheap solution like that, it'd be like, okay, everybody take your malaria meds and go back to work, you know, which would be great. I'm not sure it's going to happen like that, but would be nice. Oh, you know what? Let's So this is this tiny little O-ring, and if anybody hasn't seen it, go back and check out the video I just posted on O-rings. So this is an O-ring that is tiny. Is it 0.5 mil? Let's see. There's 62 thousandths. Or 62, 6/10 of a mil. Let's go down to 7/10. Is that grabby? No. $64 is grabby. Okay. So roughly 65. Somewhere in there. 0.65 millimeters is what you're looking at for that O-ring. Let's check it out in inches here, if there's an inches. Ooh. 25 thousandths. That's tuggy. Let's try 30 thousandths. That's a little less than 30. That's 28. A little too big. So somewhere around 25 thousandths. There's a tug there. Okay. What about the inner diameter here? $575. $584, somewhere in there. 14.85 millimeters. $15 millimeters picks it up. Somewhere around 15. 15.1 maybe. It might be a 15.1. So now that I have those dimensions, I can go back and see if I can look for standard O-rings like that. Yeah. Okay, that O-ring is sitting down. That's fine. How many months? How many had it months ago and didn't know? I had flu January, mid-January, but it was specific. It was flu A, so they did test me. So here we can put the bushing in there, in the seal, and know that we're good to go, you know? A little bit of grease is always helpful. Now we do the 518 on the outside. And right on down. And no, I have not made a seal driver yet. So the bushing is basically, you know that it's through. You're not going to prolapse the seal this way. And now you can take and put it down and make sure it's even, you know. Use a deep socket for that. That needs to go just a hair more. Hair. Big Long Island. This you're tapping on the crankcase right down to the. That's it. Your bushing's there. It's all seated nicely. Leave it. Leave it alone. Okay. Let's put that washer on there that protects it. And now that's basically ready to rock. Put a little bit of grease actually right here. That way the washer won't tend to fall off. Now I can put this aside and we can build this into whatever we want. What we want to do. Anybody want to build a 372? Let me know. I don't have a particular use for it. Just needed to get it built up, you know? So, onward. Bigger and better things. That's what I'm doing right now, Chris. You're learning, right? Right this second. You know, chainsaws have been a mystery to people for a very long time. It's a mechanical mystery, and I don't care how super duper diesel mechanic blah 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 anybody is. A chainsaw is going to baffle you. That it's what they do. Doesn't matter how good you think you are. These darn things will baffle you. And part of the idea of me doing all this stuff and hanging out with you guys is we can demystify this together, you know? Take some of the mystery out of it. It's not like there's a whole lot of mystery. There's definitely some, but there doesn't need to be. And I learned just as much as you guys. So. All right, ignition coil. We got to put this on here. So let's play with that. I don't remember what bolts do I have here. I don't know. Shucks, who knows? I don't know. Those are head bolts. Those are. I don't mean to put the mystery out, but he would be the first to admit he's a heavy duty. But and when he's not excited about it, right? Yeah. So you have some very talented people and some very can-do people that the first thought in their mind is like, yeah, I got this, or whatever on chainsaws, but it's just not true, they're different from all the other power equipment too. You go from 4-cycle to 2-cycle, that's an issue, but you also have they're different than blowers, they're different than all this other, all the trimmers, all this other stuff. And there is a considerable amount of mystery to it. You gotta go step by step. It really, one of the reasons that it probably appeals to me, or at least it's familiar, is that in dentistry, you have to go through all the steps to do pretty much anything. Even when you go through all the steps, here's the familiar part. Even when you go through all the steps, you can still land yourself in hot water. And that's the honest truth of that. You go through all the steps, you do everything right, still land yourself in hot water. Very frustrating. But that's the familiar part to me. It's like, oh, well, yeah. Of course it's frustrating. I'm missing one thing. So yeah, you're not putting anybody down by saying something like that. At least I don't think so. To run this under here if possible. Now you pull the line back and tuck it in. And basically any excess goes right back underneath the carburetor box here. You're all tucked. Good. Ken made it. Good. Yeah, Ken, I'm so sorry for missing your stream. I've been up all night, so sinus is driving me crazy. We got a brand new OEM starter for this. Just waiting for that. Let's go. That's all tight. What do I want to do next? Let's do the oiler. Aha, but can't do the oiler next unless I have an oiler to use. And in order to get an oiler to use, I need to rebuild one. So here is an oiler. This spring clip is a pain. Get it up and on there a little bit. And then you should be able to work this out. There. Now you can unscrew this, I think. Henry from Mowers and Blowers calling you a hater? Okay. Well. What are you doing hating on them poor young fellers? What nonsense. Yeah. So we got to get the piston or whatever this is out of here. It's all gunked up. It's all gunked up. Ken, you like my fish paper this morning? Oh, that's probably pieces of nylon, actually. No wonder that's hard. Nylon. So good, I can get this to twist. Because something got gummed up here. Yeah, this should move in and out quite free. Like this. It should actually come out the end like that. There we go. Now, there are 2 washers. I forget what the order is on them. There. And they look identical to me, so it's not going to be a big deal. Spring, a couple of washers. Okay, hit this with the brake cleaner. Good. So this is actually another, well, this is the 372 I was working on a couple days ago. And I just need to build it. Basically, it's just a matter of throwing things together here. Hopefully parts that work, you know. Okay, so the piston here, pretty cleaned up. That should be fine. 2 washers, spring. lubrication in there. This goes back in. My little guy's making noise. I don't know what he's hooting about. Take this all the way down. There we go. And this spring clip will just push back on, but it's got to go up and over the screw, essentially. And just like everything else, it threatens to completely bugger you. So whatever. Let's see. There. Alright, your spring's back on. Your adjustment screw. And one part I tend to forget. This little white plug goes in the end. That's that. Our oiler is fully functional. Rubber bits are fine. Good to go. The 372X torque. Thank you for bringing that up. So I went out and it tunes a little funky. It probably needs an OEM carburetor. I'm not convinced that it's worth putting the money of an OEM carburetor into it, you know. But I know the mister will do it. Post a real short YouTube video the night before we're going live. Ken told me that he was going to be on this morning, so I was sitting here waiting for the notification. You know. Oh well. Okay, the 372 X Torque China edition was. It runs. I'll put it like that. It does run. Took me a little bit to get it kind of dialed in, but it's basically dialed as much as could be. It's kind of it's a funky saw. And I gotta blow my nose. Okay. Bulletin board paper, yeah, that'd be good. Or you could probably use the construction paper you get down at Lowe's. I've bought it numerous times. It's pretty cheap, and you put it on the garden to keep the weeds down. It actually works really well. Leia here, James is missing. Wonderful. How you feeling? I know he can't respond, right? But he's listening. We're pulling for you, buddy. We are. Thoughts, prayers, all that stuff sent. So. Let's do. All right. Threw me off here a little bit. Okay. Let's get back on track. Looks like a perfectly good dip tube, so I'll use it. I like to clean them off with brake clean just to make sure they're good. Thanks, Ken. That's good. Hey, Edwin. Haven't seen you in a bit. Just stuck it right to my finger. Why did I do that? There we go. Oh, good. Okay. Stuff. I do put a little bit of it on the oiler itself. But right around here, but I need to degrease that little spot first. If this is OEM fresh rubber, then I don't do this. Like that. Blue Loctite on these bolts, and these are actually through hole into the crankcase. That up. And I have a couple of screws here. Oiler bolts. 1, 2. Yes, the 630 went for a run. I guess it runs okay. If Mason ever comes on again, I'll let him give you the specific report. But I don't think it was anything amazing, but I think it was definitely good. It ran fine. Considering I didn't like change out the rings or anything like that. There we go. Aha, one thing I forgot. And luckily I can put it on now, but it's this washer. It'll still go on now. Yep. There we go. Okay. How about a chain brick? Yeah, it's my understanding that John Sered, there really wasn't any new rings available for it. So yeah, I would have loved to put new rings in that thing. That would have been preferably a new OEM piston, new rings. Best of luck finding all that stuff, though. Sometimes you could do that. Sometimes you can't. Don't always get away with that. Grease. Take care, Harry. Thanks. Can you use all the powers James has? I guess so. Sorry, guys. Okay, all this stuff has to be sitting down for when you actually put this gray piece on, because otherwise you break it. I'm going to put this down easy here, and then I'm going to give it a push the rest of the way, I think. I might first click this over and see what happens. Now what? A rim sprocket, a clutch. Ooh. That's not good. That's either worn or that's a 576 clutch. I had that problem once. Not cool. Yeah. That's a 372 clutch. That's a 576 clutch. That will screw you up. Bad. Bad, bad, bad. New piston, finally good use one. Yeah, the difficult to do on those is my understanding. Where is it binding? Binding somewhere. Because those are the thin ring, the fabled thin ring pistons and whatnot. This is loose. What's the problem? Yeah, it's all correctly in there. Try a different drum, maybe? I got lots of drums. Where's the oiler? Oiler's there. Okay. Sprocket. Good. Just need one of these guys. And a clip. Now we're moving here. Gonna come back to this with the dog and everything in a minute. Let's do the mufflers next. That I gotta modify. Okay. Muffler, right. All right. This is a highway muffler. In general, I do like these. For the money, I think they make plenty of sense. That's nice. But the opening under there is just too small. It's just too small. open it up. Just use a carbide round burr. You go in here, you basically open it up as much as you can. One other thing I like to do, make it a little easier on yourself, is bend this up just a shade. Gives you a little more of an opening without having to grind. Round burr goes up and catches. like working from the back as much as possible rather than bringing it forward. I like working it back that direction. But I need a little bit more reach. Same spot. Keep getting it. I do a touch more here and then we'll call it good. Yeah, it's fine. Let it be. All right. I'm going to wash this. Actually, no, you know what? What I do need to do is just get a magnet in here. You really don't want to leave any shavings in there. Good. Okay. Now that that's gone, I can put the screen back in here. All right. We are almost there. This is really coming very fast. One thing you can do is check your plate here and see how the opening is, if your port matched or not. If you need it to match, you can match it. That one's a little bit more open. It needs a little bit of this way. No, it is this way. Either. I think it needs to come. This tab needs to get bent just a little bit. That'll be fine. Okay. We have exhaust bolts. One. Exhaust bolts. And an exhaust gasket. Lots of those here. No worries there. Good. Should be using the impact for this, right? just 20mm M5s, nothing crazy. Bracket. Bracket goes on. Just get everything kind of one turn in. And this bracket does bend a considerable amount. There's your exhaust. And what's next? Little screw over here, M4. That's when you have the right one on there. This is most definitely one of those parts that there is really no point to buying OEM on. There's certainly plenty of parts that I think OEM is important. This is not one of them. This bushing piece here goes here. There's no sense in spending OEM money for that. Like zero. Why is it not fitting? That's why. Okay. I do like the OEM starters. I think they're more robust than the aftermarkets. And especially if you got a ported saw, you're going to want something solid, you know? works. I remember the spark plug this time. We need a dog. Dog. Inner one. That's pretty good. Nope, those holes are enlarged. Let's use that one. These here. Need the roller. Little ones. Five nut. Roll around here. This is an aftermarket roller catch. I think these are fine. Don't see why you have to have OEM for that part. Decomp. Ken's back. Okay. This is the one I decked. Yeah, this is decked and squished and all that stuff. This is the one I spent lots of time on. Yes. I just want to see what we have for like a compression number on this. I'll bet it's considerable. AV mount on the head here. Not an amazing shape, but I don't think it matters. For a top handle. This happens to be an X-Torque top handle, so there's going to be a little bit of extra room on these, which is always nice. A little extra room. Okay. The bigger one goes up here. Shorties go in there at the bottom. You don't want to use the long ones on the bottom because it'll come through and rub on the case. Flywheel's not rubbing the head. Alright. Moment of truth here, guys. Alright. We'll start at 0. So you guys can see 0. Pop it. Well, let's get a compression number first. One pull, there's 90. There's 130 with the decomp in. 150. 170 with the decomp in. 180 with the decomp in. 185. All right, I'm going to decomp off. There's 210. There's 220. There's 230. 235. 230. Yeah. Well, that's what like 8 to 10 hours worth of cylinder head work will get you, even on a Chinese head. I mean, no, I'm weak today. Oh my Lord. I am still, my tennis elbow is killing me. Squish was right at 121. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a 45,000 pop-up. Now what I gotta do is write on here what I did. About 101, 122. It was 81 intake. 021 squish. L45 pop. Grab the head. Will it diesel? I don't know. Oh man, I thought. Thought it was gonna reach. Do I have room? Oh, we might. Might have room here. that is the highest compression saw I think I've ever made. That 262, I was not expecting that to be quite that high, but not sure what to think here, guys. To be honest. Hopefully an extra little 1/4 of an inch here will work. If not, then I gotta extend this. Porting, you probably lose compression when you do the porting because of you're decreasing duration that the exhaust port is closed. Again, I'm not a porting theorist, so I'm not the guy to ask on that. Sorry. Just not my area, you know. That might work fine. Should sound violent when I run. Yeah, it might. Put in the last little bit of the old gas that I have here. Let's see here. on the choke lever. Choke lever. Ta-da! That's it. That's all we're doing. Calling it. I gotta go rest. So if I can get this thing out and running, that'd be cool. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work gone into this, so a lot of work. She runs. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, to top it off though. Literally to top it off. Got a brand new OEM top. Now I don't know if I'm going to keep this on this saw. I might put this on a different one, but with 235 compression, I think it's earned a seat, you know. Gets its own seat with the table of wonderfulness. Brand new carburetor. Does wonders. How much for the $50 saw? Yeah, come by here, Ed, and see if you can get this out of my hands. You better bring a lot of money. No, James, you cannot have this one. It's kind of a crappy cover here, but I think it'll do. Yeah, I've got that 28 Canon that I think would go. They would look really good on this thing. You know, it's a really crappy clutch cover, but it'll work. There you go. Gotta go test it out, make sure she runs and idles, make sure it oils, and we got it. That's it. So, I'm gonna go enjoy some family time, hang out with the family, and that's pretty much the long and the short of it. So, I will say thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out. As soon as I find, and Alan, thank you. I don't know if Alan's still here. Alan, thank you for the goodies, obviously. The flywheel puller I will use. And or I'll make something heavier duty out of it. But, yeah, so we'll figure something out there. But thank you very much for the goodies. Do appreciate that. Thanks to Ken and James for moderating. I know that James is, to say that he's under the weather right now would be a bit of an understatement. So, James is having a very rough go of it. So, although we did have some good news last night, so I hear. So, if anybody wants to send James some prayers, that'd be appreciated. And, you know, Uh, I'll say this. Obviously, we have a big issue in this country right now. Um, this type of thing is not something that I talk about too much because I in general, the channel is about DIY stuff. But um, as a country, as a world, spending more of our time on our knees and in prayer is important. Um, that's I think good general policy, and I think now more than ever it becomes more and more apparent. So if everybody can send James a few prayers, it'd be appreciated. And yep, we're all in this together. It's certainly the way that it is. Like Red Green says, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. So, um, yeah. Anyway, that's all I'll say about that. And we'll see you guys on the flip side, whatever that is. Thanks so much for hanging out. I do appreciate it. I really do. Everybody, please stay safe, stay healthy, take care of the sinuses, take care of all that other stuff. And if anybody needs anything, they can shoot me an email and all that other good stuff. I will be on as soon as I can. I do want to hang out with you guys some more. And certainly over this break, I think we're going to be able to do that. So, who knows where things go from here. Take care, everybody. Have a great one. Bye bye.